What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome along to episode 58 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the British Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, as always, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And if you're new around here, then make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues on. So, after the last race, obviously the sprint race in Austria, that sprint weekend overall went pretty well. And I'd say we're starting to get our season back on track a bit here. Of course, what better race to come to than our home Grand Prix? But obviously the pressure's on. We won this race last season. Can we try and do it again? But in the meantime, upgrades on the car, powertrain upgrades to be exact, and we'll put one on the durability department as well and get some more in for the next race in Belgium. The gap between Austria and British Grand Prix only a week, so not a lot of time in between, but hopefully those upgrades come through for Belgium without any issues. And of course, we are now the fastest team on the grid, so plenty of confidence going into this Grand Prix. In terms of our power unit, making a change there, the MGUK is close. We'll make the change on that. I'll obviously get the fresh MGUH on the car from the last round. And in terms of the Drivers' Championship, then Verstappen leads the way, 110 points to his name. Hamilton 19 back in second place. We sit in fifth place now, 58 points to our name. Bit further from Sergio Perez in fourth, but those two McLarens still breathing down our neck, both on 53 points each, and Alonso on 50. And there's the rivalry. Leclerc in front by 1 point over us right now. Leclerc, of course, won the Grand Prix. We won the sprint, so not a lot of gap there. So we'll advance time then. Only a few days between Austria and Silverstone. So without further ado, let's head over to Silverstone and get this race weekend underway with qualifying. Time then for qualifying, and the heavens have opened. So we've got intermediate tyres going on the car for this first qualifying session, and obviously the British weather finally doing its thing. It's been ages since we've actually had a wet Grand Prix in any capacity, so I think I had one this season. So whether we'll see rain in the Grand Prix, not too sure, but in terms of qualifying, have to handle the wet weather in this race car as best we can. Obviously, this race car has been a bit difficult in terms of getting to grips with it alongside compared to the 2022 Challenger. Of course, we ran to the championship and that and won this race in that car last season, so we'll have to try and acclimatise to the conditions as best we can on this outlap to make our way through turns 3 and 4, getting set for our first qualifying run, making our way now onto our first flying lap, pushing out of turns 17 and 18 to begin our first lap down the Hamilton straight. Max Verstappen, of course, championship leader right there behind us. Of course, had a few decent scraps to him for the sprint race victory in Austria. Into turn 1, bit too deep there, and as a result, almost running wide at the exit. Turn 1 for turn 2, now nice and smooth. Into 3, got one of the cars in front, Ocon in the Alpine in front, bit too deep there at the right hand of Verstappen. Thought he saw a chance on the outside, doesn't go for it in the end, stays behind us, and through turn 4, keeping the car under control, starting a bit on corner exit, but keeping it under wraps for the most part, and coming down the Wellington straight for the first time here. Ocon may pull over to the left-hand side, hopefully he does, because we're closing him at a rate of knots here, going towards the end of the first sector. It's a 30.9 to start this first sector off. Ocon narrowly gives us the room to squeeze past on the inside there at turn 6, now through turn 7, keeping things under control, so no real hold up from Ocon there. Make our way off the corner and push on down towards Cox. We're completing our first lap here, making our way out of Stowe, turn 15, and in towards Vale now. Hamilton, our teammate, fastest, 1 minute 38.1 on the board for our compatriot in the Mercedes. Verstappen still right behind us here, over the sausage curve a bit at turn 17, and now through the last corner on the circuit to complete our first time, 1 minute 38.6, so half a second off our teammate. And Verstappen, who of course coming right behind us, it goes second fastest, so improvement behind us as we make a mistake at turn 1, actually run wide there. So we'll call an end to our first run, and in terms of what the game plan is from here, of course, rain will stay to the end of the session. So Hamilton fastest right now, we're half a second off him in 4th place. Signs of Verstappen, both topping our previous time. Leclerc in 5th, and it's Piastri, Norris, Gasly, Perez, and Tsunoda in the top 10. So right now, I'd say we're in good step. We had a few mistakes in the first lap, and obviously we can try and correct those on the second lap on our fresh set of intermediate tyres. So into our last lap now. Of course, checker flag has now fallen. Purple sector, 1 bit of a slide there out to Magnussen Beckett, and going toward the last sector, 1 minute 11.497, but only a green sector this time, and lost a lot of time out of turn 14, so up towards Stowe for the last time in this qualifying session. Into the right hander we go, trying to keep things under control, trying to avoid losing any more time, and obviously what could have been a pole run potentially may have been jeopardised a bit by the exit of the second sector. But now in towards Vale for the last time in this qualifying session, and making our way through turns 16, 17, and out towards 18, improving by about a second and a half, 0.2 quarter of a second, up massively towards the line. It'll be P3 on the grid, so a top 3 start, could have been pole potentially, but made the mistake, so I'll live with that, and hopefully be in a good step for the race.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Sainz, and Cohen. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So Hamilton then on pole, Sainz second, and we line up third in front of Max Verstappen. Leclerc rounds out the top 5. Every chance to try and go back-to-back with victories in our home Grand Prix, but there's only one way to find out. Let's head now into the race and get this Grand Prix underway.
You join us in the United Kingdom today, or Great Britain as it's alternatively known. Well, it's certainly a great day today as we welcome you to one of the crown jewels of British sport, a track of speed, history and drama. It's Silverstone. It's the British Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Cohen, Verstappen, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Magnussen, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Albon, Ricciardo, Sargent, Bottas, Joe, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Can we begin by having a chat about Charles Leclerc? That was a great podium in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Here we go then, no more talking, time for action for the British Grand Prix, round number 7 of the season from P3 on the grid, behind Hamilton and Sainz on the run towards Abbey, the right-hander at turn 1. So there's the strategy for those head then soft to mediums. Actually, we're getting a little bit of time, getting about 100th or so in terms of race time, pitting a lap earlier, trying to undercut everyone else. So we'll start on the soft tire, go a lap shorter than everyone else, and your mediums to the end.
Here we go then, and we're off for the formation lap here at Silverstone, dubbed the home of British motor racing. Now, while the layout of this circuit has changed on numerous occasions, the spirit of the track that hosted the very first Formula One World Championship Grand Prix still very much prevails.
Soft tyres, the tyre of choice then, but mediums on both the Ferraris.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So you saw 7 cars there starting on the medium tyres, 2 of them being the Ferraris of Sainz and Leclerc, of course we'll be dealing with over the course of the Grand Prix, but soft tyres for us and the majority of the field, that's the prime weapon of choice for the majority of the pack. Of course, Hamilton on pole, right in front, which is the key here will be to try and get a good start. We've been fantastic on race starts over the course of the season, much easier to get off the line compared to F1 22 in terms of the cars around us. Verstappen there, also look for a good start as he tries to get his lead back up over Hamilton. 19 points the gap between the 2 leaders in the World Championship as the last few cars come through and take their places on the grid. It's a packed out crowd as always at Silverstone. It's fantastic to see the spirit of British motorsport and world motorsport lives on here in Formula 1, but the lights are coming on for the British Grand Prix, round 7 of the season, and our home race set to get underway. Lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. We are racing at Silverstone. Good start from Sainz on the right. They're going towards turn 1. Sainz gets in front of Hamilton and leads into the first right-hander. Hamilton P2, we sit in 3rd, Verstappen 4th, and Piastri rounds out your top 5 in towards turn number 3 now. Sainz fully clear of Hamilton and starts trying to open the lead. Not quite checking out as he has done in the past, but Hamilton keeping him quiet and keeping him honest as of right now through this opening sector. Of course, we've fallen back a little bit here out of turns 4 and 5. Down the Wellington straight for the first time. Hamilton may try and go for a move here, but for now looks to be set in P2. Pushing further on into the lap, going out to Magnussen towards Stowe for the first time. Hamilton with a good run here, pulls to the outside on Sainz. Verstappen may give us some pressure from behind, but it's still about these two going side by side into Stowe, into the right-hander at turn 15. Sainz on the inside, Hamilton on the outside, of the inside for corner exit, and up towards Vale once again. Hamilton leads this Grand Prix for the first time today. Sainz tries to make a move. Hamilton a bit deep there into turn number 16. Trying to take advantage of Sainz on corner exit down the inside towards the last 2 corners and through the last turns to start lap 2. We jump in front of Sainz, narrowly clear him, and P2 for us in this little train. So we're now in the sandwich between Hamilton and Sainz, but going through Abbey turn 1. Once again, Hamilton out front of the British Grand Prix. It's a common sight nowadays in Formula 1, or at least in the last 10 years or so. But on to lap 3 now, DRS in play. Of course, it's up to us to try and take on our teammate. Sainz 6 tenths back, 7 tenths back, falling back a little bit here in the opening 2 laps of this Grand Prix, or the last lap or so since conceding second place. But now it's up to us to try and take on our teammate for the race lead. Well and truly in the battle of Britain here, but a bit wide, sorry, sliding a bit there going through turn 4, so losing a lot of time, a huge chunk of time. Obviously we'll have DRS regardless, but losing perhaps a chance, our first chance to take the lead of this Grand Prix from Hamilton. On to lap number 4 now, a lap and a half later, going through Magnussen Beckett's getting a lot of time on our teammate, but a bit deep there, going through the right-hander of turn 13, so losing a bit on corner exit, but DRS is still right there, going down the hanger straight towards Stowe, once again closing all the time on our teammate, yet to take Mercedes' first win of the season for either one of our 2 cars. Down the inside of Hamilton now, looking for the race lead through turn 15, up towards Vale. Once more, Hamilton has the edge on corner exit. We've got a better chance here, going towards the left-hander into the chicane, dive into the inside of our teammate, avoiding that sausage curb. Hamilton stays alongside, we've got the better drive off on corner exit around the outside of our teammate, and once again, as we did last season, leading the British Grand Prix. Now on to lap 5 of this race, and Hamilton has Sainz, Verstappen, and now Norris to deal with. Yet to get an all-British podium at this Grand Prix. If we can try and do that today, it'd be fantastic. On to lap 6 now. Lewis gets his first chance to reclaim the lead. Down the inside, he goes breezing past us with DRS to his effect. Going to try and dive to his inside, tapping his back left tyre there. Verstappen and Sainz side by side behind us, sliding through turn number 6 here, and through 7. Verstappen and Sainz behind us, falling away. Verstappen gets the edge there, takes P3, but we've fallen away from Lewis here. He's about 6 tenths in front. So on to lap 7 now. Another lap and a half later, closing on Lewis once more, down towards Stowe once again, and closing all the time in, pulling to the inside of the racetrack this time into the right-hander, and on corner exit it's dead even here. Hamilton may get a better drive off. We'll try and switch to the inside if we can though, try and take the lead back as we did on lap 4, down the inside of our teammate once again, and looking for the outside of turn 17 as a better drive off there, better exit. Verstappen keeping both of us honest right now through the last corner and around the outside, taking the lead back, but Verstappen right in there, and Hamilton trying the inside again into turn 1. The 2 Mercedes teammates side by side there in the opening corners of the lap, and are going through towards turns 2 and 3. We'll hold the lead narrowly there, but these guys behind us are not playing about. A bit deep there at turn 3, but maintaining our position and putting a bit of a gap over Hamilton, about 2 or 3 car lengths or so. Verstappen P3, Norris now P4, and Sainz is falling back on those medium tyres. He's down to P5 now, so work to be done for Sainz to enter lap 8 of this Grand Prix, and Hamilton may come back at us here, going down towards turn 6. Once again, Hamilton to the inside there, 2 teammates side by side once again, with a better drive in and better entry and better exit, maintaining our position in front of Hamilton. Verstappen thought he was going to try and move, didn't quite do it, so Verstappen stays in line himself, but Hamilton keeps behind us for now because he continues to show the way in this Grand Prix. Hamilton a couple corners later though, in the last sector, closing in once again, tries the inside for Stowe, side by side, Hamilton in front by a wheel there, going into the corner. Hamilton clears us off of turn 15, takes the lead back, but for the 3rd time in this race, we'll dive down the inside once again and try and take that spot back, side by side once again. Hamilton with the edge on the inside, but a better drive, that's all we need, but Hamilton this time a bit further alongside. We've got to give him the room through turn 18, but back in front once again as Hamilton backs out. So on to lap 9, back in the lead once more, and this fantastic battle continues on into turn 1 once again as Verstappen and Norris do get out for 3rd place behind us, but a few corners later in turn 4, on corner exit, sliding out of the way there, big slide, a bigger slide than earlier, and Hamilton goes dancing back through, says thank you very much mate, I'll take P1 back, and DRS to his effect too. Hamilton pulling away, could leave us under pressure with Verstappen and Norris on the run down towards turn 6 down the Wellington straight. Once again, Verstappen almost tries the inside, got very close to our inside back left tyre, didn't quite do it, maintains the spot for now. But on to lap 10, at the end of lap 10, getting towards our first pit stop on this Grand Prix, of course pitting a lap earlier than everyone else in this thing, and see if we can take any sort of advantage from that, so avoiding a penalty for the pit limit. Of course, the pit limit at Silverstone quite slow, 37 miles per hour compared to a lot of other tracks that we normally do 50, but in for our first stop now. It's a long pit lane here at Silverstone, coming in, the only car coming in for our stop onto the medium tyres. From there goes 16 laps on these to check a flag, and from there we'll see we're about to emerge. Of course, those 2 Ferraris are on medium tyres, so we're keeping an eye on where about they pit compared to everyone else. There's 7 cars in all on the medium tyres, at least they were from the start. Not sure if anyone else has pitted, shouldn't think they have so far. There's been no real issues from anyone else behind in this Grand Prix, but coming towards the end of our pit lane now, already 30 seconds in the pits, so plenty of time to be gained and plenty of time to be lost in this pit lane. Of course, Hamilton may pit with the pack potentially. He's got a bit of a gap over Verstappen from what I can see on the mini-map. There's every chance he could get held up if everyone stops at once. Of course, Mercedes has got the 3rd pit box in the row of on the pit lane. Now Hamilton is in now. Looks like 2 Ferraris and 1 of the McLarens have stayed out. Not quite sure who it is. Looks like Verstappen or Perez may have also stayed out. Not quite sure again who that is. But Lewis is being held there. You can see a number of cars all going past the Mercedes pit box here as they make their way up towards Vale once again and try and retake the lead back, or at least a net first place, because we know likely will emerge in front of the Ferraris and that McLaren back on the racetrack again at 1-8. I'll eventually go into the pit lane, but through the last corner here and onto the main straight to begin lap 12. And we'll see we're about to emerge compared to Verstappen, Hamilton, and the rest of the field behind us, making our way in towards turn 1 once again. Will they come out in front of us, or will we come through first? It's going to be us coming through first, and there goes Verstappen out in front of Hamilton. So Verstappen jumped to Hamilton in the pit lane there. Of course, we're all in one big train, so not a lot of time lost there for Lewis, but crucially, that's 1 place gained. He's now going to try and get that back on the racetrack as we make our way through turns 4 and 5, but into a net P1 here. And of course, the McLarens and the Ferrari yet to pit as well. Sorry, the Ferraris and McLaren yet to pit, apologies. But pushing on now and on to the end of lap number 12, start lap 13, nearing the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Everyone coming into the pit lane, save for that one lone Ferrari who is stayed out on the racetrack. It's Carlos Sainz who stayed out, as Leclerc is in the pit lane here, making our way through as a number of cars rejoin the train here, coming through towards turns 3 and 4. Still a number of cars yet to pit. We're still in the net P1 right now. Those cars who pitted slightly later, not beating us out. There's smoke again! No! You're kidding me! A third time already in this season. The power unit is gone once again. Hamilton goes through, no doubt as nervous as Mercedes that could blow up potentially the same way. Verstappen goes through, and that's it for us. Norris goes through, Leclerc going through. It's a nightmare at Silverstone, putting the car over here. 3 retirements in 7 races. I don't know what's gone wrong on the power unit. I'm thinking it's the ICE. It couldn't possibly be that MGUK we just put on the race car. It couldn't be that at all, I shouldn't think. But a 3rd retirement, and after the solid race in Austria, that's going to put us so far back now in the Drivers' Championship. And it's the halfway point of the season, but I'm willing to bet our championship chances are over.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well, there'll be one half that's not celebrating in Mercedes. That's our half of the garage. But as for Hamilton, he takes the first victory for Mercedes this season, the first win for himself in this campaign, and wins the British Grand Prix. Verstappen in 2nd. No doubt that championship lead closes a little bit. And Lando Norris takes away 3rd place in this Grand Prix. So fantastic double British podium, but it could have been us up there too. We were on for a race win. Things did not work out for us. 3 retirements in 7 Grand Prix. It's going to take a miracle now for us to come back in this World Championship. But let's have a look at the rest of the results and, of course, the damage from that catastrophic retirement.
Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. So let's review the updated driver standings. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, for me, it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
So off the podium then, Leclerc takes P4, Sainz in 5th, Perez in 6th, Piastri, Alonso, Albon and Pierre Gasly round 8 on top 10. But guys, another retirement that make that Australia, Monaco and now Britain. So Stroll retired with us as well, so 2 retirements in this Grand Prix. But that could have been the race win for us. That's 2 wins, well, potential wins at the very least, had stripped from us from retirements, from the mechanical failures. But P8 in the championship again, back to 70 points back in the standings, in front of Alonso, crucially, but only by 4 points. But Hamilton now 11 back from Verstappen in the race for the championship. So those guys getting closer and closer. And we could be up with them if not for these failures. Red Bull lead Mercedes by 35 in the standings, so that gap is still mighty close. But in terms of our season, it's going to take a miracle now for us to come back. But guys, that'll do it for this episode of the F1 Ultimate Career Series. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, as always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future F1 content. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.